Alright, hello there everyone. Welcome to another Kagurabachi chapter. Today we got chapter 82. The reason why I sound so depressed is because I haven't really had the best day. I played the Mugen open test. That was fun. I like that. The video should come out either tomorrow or very late today. Probably tomorrow, but um yeah. And then I had to play the Azurlech update. Didn't have a good time. Didn't get any cool clips, any cool footage. So it's just the update. 5 minute video of just a nothing burger. And then I had to play this Basketball Zero game to get this footage, and didn't really have a good time. You'll see throughout the video, freaking Emperor, the worst style they've ever added to the game, bro. I might make a whole video on that on its own because that's terrible. Emperor is the worst style ever added to the game. Such a no skill style. But anyway, I'm just getting mad thinking about it. But that's enough of me talking. Let's get into the chapter review. Starts with Chihiro saying, "All this time I wanted to believe it, but I couldn't be sure," referring to Uraha being alive, right? And then Ro notices Kamiyuri. He says to Kamiyuri, "Where's Hirohiko?" And then Samura confirms that he retreated and he still contracted to the blade. The sheath fell and it should be 2 floors down. And then Chihiro notices that Samura has advanced even more in the past 18 years. In that battle just now, I sense that his revival sorcery is an intentional exercise. Why did he hone the ability to kill someone and revive them? And this is where, low-key, I predicted this last chapter. I predicted something like this last chapter. I didn't predict it to this capacity, but I definitely predicted something like this last chapter. Before he presses Samura, he thinks about what they said during the start of their fight. To that end, you're willing to let all the sword bearers die. It's necessary to completely stop the malediction. His only motive is to stop the malediction. He bears no malice towards the sword bearers. And then Chihiro presses Samura, saying, "Mr. Uraha, he's alive, isn't he?" Samura says nothing, which basically confirms it. So I pretty much guessed this last chapter. I didn't guess it to the capacity that it's about to show up, but I definitely predicted this in some way. So, and then we get a crazy lore dump, right? Malediction is the true realm of the Shinichi. It has claimed countless lives. The only way to make sure it never happens again is to execute the Swordmaster. But if the Swordmaster dies, the eternal contracts dictate all the other sword bearers die too. They refrain from killing the Swordmaster to spare our lives. They sealed up the Shinichi to minimize the risk of another malediction. Minimize. Even still, he had to constantly live with the guilt that the malediction could strike again. And then this is why, this is how Samura is keeping them alive. I'm going to kill all the sword bearers. That's a flashback to a previous chapter. Uraha thinks that I thought my life was finally up, but he allowed me to live just a little bit longer. That's why I can't throw away that gift. Don't worry, the only one about to die is the hero version of you. Well, that's all just about our egos. The only thing left is to fight to the death. So, and then we see some beautiful imagery of a tree, of a leaf falling off of a tree, and then we see Samura cutting down Uraha. This is such a cool way to show this. Samura walks up to Uraha, and then he uses Shuzaku on Uraha to revive him. That's so cool. That's so cool to me. Don't tell me. Did you intend to shoulder it alone? And we're about to see what he means on the next page, or in the next few pages, I mean. Then the doctors are obviously shocked that Uraha woke up, and then Uraha keeps going From what they tell me, at one point I was clearly dead. My eternal contract was severed, so that was his goal. See, I predicted this. I said that maybe Samura was killing them just so that he could get the contract off of them, so that he wouldn't have to go after them, right? I said something like that in my Chapter 81 review. And then the doctors are wondering how he came back to life. He came back to life, it's a miracle. Uroha says no. The other doctor says like a phoenix. Then Uroha says exactly, it was Suzaku. Did he implant the flames of mercy into my body so that it would activate after my death? I get it in principle. Sorcery activated by a person's death isn't unheard of, but revival, clearly he didn't have that power 18 years ago. I don't know how he did it, but Mr. Samura cultivated that ability to release the sword bearers from our eternal contracts. But there are limitations to this kind of sorcery. Even with the spell implemented, or the sorcerer if the sorcerer dies, the spell dies too. Interesting. So it wouldn't work if he implanted it in himself. In other words, the tactic of severing only the eternal contracts couldn't be applied to Mr. Samura himself. Mr. Samura must know that. No one else has to join me. And then Uroha pieces it together that he intends to end his own life so that no one else has to suffer. And when I first read that low-key brought a tear to my eye. It's low-key bringing tears to my eyes now, I'm not gonna lie. Because that's such a selfless and beautiful thing. I honestly think Samura is the best antagonist in Kagurabachi at this point. Because he's doing this out of love. He's doing this out of protection. Right? He loves the sword bearers. He fought with these people. Bro. But anyway, before I start crying, let's or start crying anymore. Let's keep on going. He intends to do away with the eternal contracts, the sword bearer, the risk of another malediction, all of it alone. That's strong stuff, man. Like, he's willing to let himself die so that no one else has to suffer what happened during the Seitei War. That's really noble, you know what I mean? That's a really noble act of Samura. It's really noble of Samura. Then it shows Samura training with Uroha. I've been chasing after you all this time, only I have pursued you relentlessly. I alone. I can't move. With the eternal contract broken, your whole nervous system is trying to regenerate after being distorted for 18 years. It'll probably take a few days. Then who'll stop Samura? I hear Chihiro Rokuhira joined the counter Samura force. Don't report me to the higher-ups. There's no harm in having a secret ace up our sleeves. So it was Uroha's decision to remain a secret. Now, okay, I think this is a lot better. Explanation. Because the same thing happened to Chihiro, right? The same thing happened to Chihiro. Because Chihiro was a contracted sword bearer. Not during the Seitei War, because he wasn't born during the Seitei War. But he's a contracted sword bearer, nevertheless. And to stop the malediction, no one has to be contracted to any blades. So that they could kill the swordmaster without any other lives being taken. So Uroha was a contracted sword bearer during the Seitei War. And because of that, he was killed by Samura. But then he was brought back to life so that he wouldn't be contracted to the blade anymore. He wouldn't be contracted to Kamiuri anymore. Did the same thing to Chihiro, but Chihiro rebonded with the blade. So, yeah, that's basically it. Then it cuts to the shapeshifter guy talking about, "You're supposed to be dead!" Rah, 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 rah. And then Uda drops a pretty hard line, I'm not gonna lie. "I lost. At least let me protect this place while they're away. I have faith in them." Pretty hard, pretty hard. And then we have Samura responding to Chihiro's question, saying, "What if Uda is alive?" And then Chihiro presses him, saying, "Then you're intending to die alone." "More than anything," Samura says. "The possibility of the malediction and the power of the enchanted blades will wreak havoc in the future. It's my greatest fear. I know you feel the same. You don't need to stop me. I'll kill the Swordmaster." Chihiro says, "Yeah, I'll feel the same." And Chihiro Loki sneaks Samura, clashing with them. Then he said, "Even in your darkest despair, you wanted to save other people's lives. You fought tirelessly for that. I'm the same. I'm willing to fight tirelessly to save your life." Samura neglects this, saying that won't stop the malediction, which is true, but still. Chihiro keeps trying to fix it, saying, "We'll find another way. I'll fight alongside you." And Samura keeps neglecting him, saying, "Impossible. Not gonna happen." He pushes him, but with the action going on while they're talking, Samura pushes him in a room, closes the door. Chihiro walks up to the people. He sees Samura preparing an EI White Purity style, right? And then we get more lore on the EI White Purity style. EI White Purity style, or the White Purity style, entails building up spirit energy to generate explosive force. He prepares to take Chihiro in a single blow, a blow imbued with the flames of Suzaku. So he's going to kill him again, but he's going to revive him so that he uncontracts to Inten again. Right, the last time we faced off, I didn't even slow him down. Nothing I say will be convincing. That was Chihiro talking. And then we get this really cool panel of Chihiro also preparing, with like the water going all around him, which is really cool. "I have to charge this with everything I've got." Through the door, he's determined not to let me read his stance until the last minute. If I move, he'll locate me by sound. I'll stand my ground. It's really cool out of him. Chihiro stands ready, and while Samura clicks the sheath of a Tobimune, and he cuts through the door. And then we get all the furniture flying back, which looks sick. It's a sick visual, I'm not gonna lie. Then we get a flashback of, I think, Samura talking to Chihiro, saying that he doesn't care if he goes to hell, which, holy, strong words. And then we get to see a beautiful double spread of Samura and Chihiro clashing. And then that wraps up the chapter. N10 versus Tobimune. Now, I don't really have anything else to add to this chapter. I mean, this was a really good chapter. This is a really good chapter. I feel like Uraha being brought back to life makes sense. It really does. This isn't like an Obara situation at all. Hokuzono, I'm sorry for ever doubting you. No, this isn't like an Obara situation at all. This was thought through. This had foreshadowing behind it. But yeah. Basically it for this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, stay safe. I'm gonna try and give ratings to every single chapter I do for Blue Lock or Kagurabachi. For this one, I'm gonna give it a solid 8. I think a solid 8 is a pretty good ranking for this chapter. But anyway, like I said, hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye and stay safe.